Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Irvi checking in with a brand new video on Pokemon that will counter Rayquaza. Niantic gave us a little tease and soon revealed Rayquaza would be taking Armored Mewtwo's spot as Tier 5 raid boss for a solid 5 weeks, starting 1 PM Pacific, July 31st, which is tomorrow. Rayquaza has various weaknesses to be exploited, and hopefully this video guide will help you prepare your counters for his not too tough, but very much anticipated and wanted shiny Pokemon as raid boss. Rayquaza's typing gives it a really huge weakness to Ice because it's a Dragon and Flying type, which means Ice types will definitely be your best of friends. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it. Let's start off with Mamoswine. Mamoswine is by far your best Pokemon counter against Rayquaza. It takes a few hits, it charges up Avalanche really fast with only 3 Powder Snows, and it has by far the best possible DPS you can get because of Rayquaza's quadruple weakness. Next up is Glaceon. Glaceon with Frost Breath and Avalanche is a good alternative pick to Mamoswine in case you don't have like a huge stack of Sinnoh Stones to complete a full team. It doesn't pack that much damage like Mamoswine, but it has a second place in my book for being a good alternative because it doesn't require Sinnoh Stone evolutions. To get multiple Glaceon, you might have to get another Icy Lure, but they're definitely worth it if you don't have many Mamoswine available to you. Next up is another Sinnoh Stone evolution, and it's Weavile. Weavile with Ice Shard and Avalanche is a glass cannon. It has really low defenses, but it packs a hefty punch. So with Ice Shard and Avalanche, you're going to get high early damage as a lead Pokemon, but it's going to faint out really quickly because it doesn't have high defensive stats, nor does it have high HP stats. So it's a good lead, but don't bring too many of them because you're just going to faint out really quickly and it's going to cost you a lot of revives. The number 4 spot goes to Alolan Ninetales. Surprisingly, this is because Alolan Ninetales is unique because of its typing. It's Ice and Fairy, and with a natural immunity to Dragon, Fairy types like Alolan Ninetales only take 39% of the damage they would if they took neutral damage attacks. So for instance, Aerial Ace would do neutral damage. This is actually one of the best counters to have simply because of its natural immunity. You might not have access to many Alolan Ninetales, but they're definitely worth bringing if you have them. And finally, on the number 5 spot is Articuno, and an Articuno with Frost Breath and Ice Beam, which can also be substituted for Blizzard for those who like Blizzard more. It's bulky, but it's also very risky because Rayquaza can run Ancient Power, and Articuno has a quadruple weakness to Ancient Power because it's a Rock type move. If you're 100% sure the Rayquaza you're facing doesn't have Ancient Power, you can bring an Articuno with you. If you're not sure, don't risk it because one Ancient Power might just be enough to knock it out. Alternative options, there's a bunch of alternative options like Walrein, which is a really cheap option. You can have your Lapras if you powered a couple up from the Lapras Raid Day, which is also really good to have. And otherwise, maybe a Jinx. It does still pack quite a punch, and Jinx isn't really uncommon with all those Smoochum hatches from the 7km eggs, so maybe you can get a hold of those. And next up, we'll just quickly mosey on to the Fairy types. Alright, so when you think of Fairy type Pokemon, which are the ones that come to mind almost instantly, yeah, it's probably only Togekiss and Gardevoir, and maybe Clefable, and add Granbull to that list, and that's pretty much it. And considering we've already covered Alolan Ninetales, I don't think we have to cover that one anymore because it can run Ice or it can run Fairy. So let's just go on ahead and start with Togekiss. because since Niantic released the move Charm, every single fairy type is actually worth having. Charm is about the same speed as the move Confusion, and it shares the same base power, which is 20, which makes it a very viable option to have on pretty much every fairy type Pokemon. And that, in conjunction with a move like Dazzling Gleam or Moonblast, just makes every fairy type Pokemon a good counter pick against Rayquaza. So Togekiss is probably the more bulky of all the fairy types that I've listed, and it pretty much fulfills its role of being bulky and still having offensive capability. So you might want to get a Togekiss or two. I definitely would if I were you. And then we have Gardevoir, which also receives the same treatment as Togekiss, where it got another stab move. So swap Confusion for Charm, and you have a very good attacking fairy type as well. Not only that, but it also makes Gardevoir a pretty reasonable gym defender as well, so keep that in mind, because there's a lot of people just spamming stuff like Tyranitar, Machamp, all that kind of stuff that just gets obliterated by fairy types. So keep that in mind when you're changing your Gardevoir and your Togekiss to give them Charm. So let's talk about Gramble. It also got the move Charm, which is a great upgrade from the move it had before, or actually moves, which were Bite and Snarl. This pretty much gives Gramble a ticket into the list of fairy types that actually do something, because it now has double stab moves in Charm and Play Rough. It's kind of underestimated because not everyone likes Gramble because it doesn't really do much, but ever since it got the move Charm, yeah, it's been up there. It's actually number 3 among the potential fairy types that we currently have, which leaves Clefable as the 4th and final pick that you should actually consider when fighting Rayquaza. It's not fast, but it does have, again, access to Charm, and it has 2 charge moves that are fairy type, which are Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast. Now, let's talk Clefable's stats, because Clefable has reasonably high HP values, and it has a significant amount of defense for a fairy type, which means it can take a hit, but it's just not really that good at dishing them out. Its attack stat is considerably lower compared to Togekiss, Gardevoir, and Gramble, but it does have more survivability. So whether you run a Clefable with Charm and Moonblast or Charm and Dazzling Gleam, it's completely up to you. Both moves are okay. I prefer Dazzling Gleam over Moonblast because Dazzling Gleam is a 2-bar move, whereas Moonblast is a single bar move. So that's just up to you. But enough about the fairy types, let's just jump into the rock type Pokemon next. Alright, so let's talk about some rock solid counters that make good additions to your team, especially when you're going to go in larger groups of trainers. Let's talk about the Golem Brothers. Both of the Golem Brothers get access to a double rock move, being Rock Throw, and as charge move they get Rock Blast and Stone Edge. Both of the Golems are very tanky. They have the exact same stats across the board. The only advantage that the Alolan variant has is that it's electric and rock, which gives it a double resistance to Rayquaza's Air Slash and Aerial Ace. So if you figure out that the Rayquaza you're battling has double flying moves, you might want to pick Alolan Golem over the regular one. Next up is Rhyperior. Rhyperior is an absolute monstrous tank. It comes with amazing bulk. It has a really good attack stat as well. And the thing with Rhyperior is that it actually has 190 base defense and 251 base HP, which means it can take hits, and with its 241 base attack stat, it deals a hefty hit back as well. So yeah, Rhyperior is a really good pick. It comes with Smackdown and Stone Edge if you have that, which is an immediate threat to Rayquaza because it's weak to rock, which makes Rhyperior an actual pick. It's not just a niche pick, it's an actual pick. On the other hand, something like Tyranitar is also a good addition, but it's kind of only a good addition if you have Smackdown and Stone Edge. And considering that Smackdown was Tyranitar's exclusive Community Day move, you might not have that at the moment, but don't fret. Even if you run Bite and Stone Edge, that's still a good moveset to have because Bite is extremely fast, which allows you to build up your Stone Edge rather quickly. Right, let's talk about Rampardos as well, because Rampardos is a beast. It's a monstrous rock type attacker. Rampardos has its flaws, but it also has major advantages. It comes with the perfect moveset in Smackdown and Rock Slide, which is stupidly overpowered if you ask me. It has 295 base attack, which is way higher than anything else. Tyranitar has like 251, Rhyperior had 241, and Rampardos just comes and says, yeah guys, I have 295, I have Smackdown and Rock Slide. Yeah, I'm kind of better than all of you. The only problem with Rampardos is that it's not really that available because Cranidos is a rare 10k hatch. And yes, I know we've had Adventure Week and you had the opportunity to actually farm Cranidos that way and just pine up every single one that you found through the quests. If you haven't, don't fret. If you don't have access to Rampardos, there are plenty of other things that you can actually pick. And on that note, I'm probably going to jump on over to your casual dragon types that you might have laying around from previous raid battles. Stay tuned for that.